Welcome into the first episode of Hot Hoops this year. I'm joined by Chris Stacey. Chris, happy to be here.
Happy to be here. Happy to be back talking some Quinnipiac hoops.
I'm very happy to be doing that. So the Quinnipiac men's basketball team is taking on Niagara tonight. Last time they played, it was here in Hamden. Niagara won 81-73. Quinnipiac had a lead in that game, lost it. Quinnipiac has improved since then. What do they have to do in order to get a win tonight at Niagara?
Well, I look at the two players on Niagara, Khalil Dukes and Matt Scott. You know they're both going to score. I think if you can stop one of them, like I said, like Isaiah Washington's been huge for them on the defensive end. So if you can stop one of them, I mean, it doesn't matter who, just pick your poison at this point. I think you're going to have a chance. Like you said last time, they kept it close. Isaiah Washington did a great job on Khalil Dukes that first half. He did get a little bit more comfortable in the second half. Khalil Dukes did, he got his points, but he did a great job. He kept it close. And in the second half, when Khalil Dukes was starting to score, that's when they pulled ahead. So if you stop one of those two players for Niagara, and you keep it close, you get the ball in the back, the ball in the basket, you have a shot to beat Niagara.
So do you think they can get a win tonight, though?
I think they have a chance. Like I said, it's going to be a close game either way. And you know Quinnipiac is great with close games. They
live with the close
games. They
games.
live and die by the close game. They're used to having that. So I think there's a chance. I think you're going to have your best game. Obviously, Cam Young is going to get his, but I feel like it's every game you're going to have someone else step up for this Bobcat team. Is it going to be Jacob Rigoni? Is it going to be Rich Kelly? But I think you're going to have more than just Cam Young and one other person. You're going to have Cam Young get his at least 18 points, in my opinion. You might have Rigoni hit a few threes. You're going to have Rich Kelly drive, be aggressive, dish out the ball, score a few times. It's going to take more than just Cam Young and one other player to win this game.
I'm excited to see how they rebound because, the Iona game, that was such a close game, and Quinnipiac really played them into double overtime. Played them really well at Iona, possibly the best team in the conference. And then you play Rider 2 days later. Yeah, it's at home, but you're mentally drained a bit. So I'm excited to see them with a couple days off, maybe focusing on what's going on in the NBA right now, take their mind off for a bit, and then really focus on this game. And I'm really excited to see how they rebound after that. So Chris, this team is 6-6 right now.
Yes.
What do you think their ceiling is at for this season?
Honestly, this team reminds me of, obviously this team this year is nowhere close to the team last year, but, I feel like we were in the same...
Better. It's better than last year.
I mean, yeah, we were in the same place last year. We were kind of they were better. They were picked last year. They were finished to pick second to last in the MAC, right below Marist. This year they're picked last. And we're in the same spot. No one expected them to be here this year. We also thought last year that they had a chance to get a first-round bye, and then they faced they're in the second part of their schedule, which is the toughest part. You got 2 games at Niagara and at Canisius, both teams above them in the conference. So, their ceiling, right now, I feel like if it's depending on a lot of what they do in these next 2 games. I feel like they both have a shot to win these next 2 games. Like they said, they already played both these teams at home. They're both close games. If they win these next 2 games, I think they have the chance of getting a first-round bye in the MAC tournament, and maybe, who knows, maybe win a game or 2, do a few damage. I mean,
you think they could win 2 games in the MAC tournament?
I'm not saying that. I mean, that's all depending on these next 2 games. The MAC tournament is a little bit,
it's about a month away.
It's about a month away, and that's a long time. You still got a lot of your second half of the MAC schedule, and Baker Dunleavy has already said this is their toughest part of their schedule, so it'll be interesting to see. And these next 2 games, like I said, keep saying it, it's going to tell a lot about this team going forward.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this team grows.
Yeah.
First-time head coach, first-time point guard, both rookies in their respective positions.
Don't forget about Jacob Rigoni.
Jacob Rigoni,
he's starting now.
He's a shooter, and Chase Daniels finding his groove. He's back again, so I'm excited to see. Yeah, I'm excited to see how this team continues to grow before the MAC tournament. We have to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll talk some women's basketball here at Quinnipiac, and we'll catch you after these messages.
Hello, and tonight on Sandwich News, we will determine what makes a good sandwich and a bad sandwich. First, the standard sandwich. Uninspired, and frankly, a little gross. But we have here a Ray and Mike sandwich, the Cadillac of sandwiches. And if you want one, well,
come on down to Ray and Mike's at 3030 Whitney Ave, Hamden, Connecticut. Open every day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. QCash is accepted.
now that's a sandwich.
This is Sports Pause.
Are you concerned with the 0-2 start to this team?
Right here, top of the circle, again, rips it past the Jasper's goalie.
What will breaking the record mean for the program himself? I mean, 138 wins.
There's the tough shot. What a nice play by Mikey Dixon.
He's good in transition. Just a really dynamic scorer he can create for himself.
And now, Emma, it's time for the top 5 plays of the week.
Coming up on #that, we talk about some fun events around Quinnipiac's campus.
And we talk about some weird news that's been discussed around Twitter.
All that and more, we are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
We're back. Happy to be here. So, Chris,
Yes.
the women's basketball team is 13-0 in conference play. Do you see them?
Incredible.
It absolutely is incredible. Especially, they lost a couple games last year, undefeated this year, especially with injuries to Vanessa Udoji and Sarah Schuin.
That's what's incredible about it. That's what is incredible about it. The depth of this team is absolutely amazing to me, and it's just the way they beat these teams is absolutely incredible. Like especially with those two going down.
A lot
Those
of
are
20s,
two key players.
A lot of games decided by over 20 points. Again, obviously in Quinnipiac's favor, they're undefeated. Do you see them losing before the NCAA tournament?
Before the NCAA tournament, I don't think so because I don't see any team in the MAC right now that has come even close to like beating the women's team right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't see it happening in conference either. And this team is just dominant. They do the gold rush, which I did in high school. I'm not a fan of, but with this team, it works perfectly. And just no team can match that play. Like you get fresh bodies out there every 1.5, 2 minutes. It's just impossible to stop. I mean, like you even saw it out of conference. Teams were having trouble with it. So I don't see them losing until maybe until the NCAA tournament. I just can't see it happening realistically in the MAC. And they've just been so dominant this year.
Yeah, the only game that was even remotely close was the Marist game that was here in Hamden. So, it's possible that a game slips. It won't happen in the MAC tournament. I'm not concerned about that. I don't think the team really is. Trisha Fabry says that the hardest games are the first win and then the game before the conference championship. So that second game that they would play in the tournament. But I mean, in previous years, they have lost a conference game or two. Well, it's been 3 the past 2 years. And, it's just been a slip, an injury happened or something happened that they lost those games. I don't really see that happening this year. It is possible, however, but, I mean, I don't see there's any reason that this team won't be in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I don't see that either. I mean, the only thing that I can see them being detrimental to is if they get a higher seed than last year, they might end up in a matchup they might not like.
You're talking about the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I'm talking about the NCAA tournament. Like if they get a higher enough seed, they might draw a tougher opponent.
Right.
But I mean, who knows? They're not just gonna tank so they can get a better seed in the NCAA tournament. So like, pick your poison. You made the NCAA tournament. That's just 2 years in a row for a mid-major program.
Big things. So this team is really dominant. Not who's the best player, who has stepped up the most this year and is the big reason that Quinnipiac is having this success?
It's hard to pinpoint one player who stepped up for these teams because Vanessa, like you said, Vanessa Udoji and Sarah Schuin, huge players for this team. They were big contributors last season as well. I'm going to have to go with Carly Fabry. She's point guard, leader of this team, obviously the coach's daughter, and she's just shown up. She's averaging just over 10 points in the MAC and almost 5 assists in the MAC as well. I think she's just stepped up, played beautifully for this team, and obviously it's shown. They've played dominantly.
Yeah, so my player is Taylor Hurd, someone that I've highlighted in a couple of different articles. We had her for an interview the other day. She's a great person, first of all, a pleasure to be around. And
Heard you.
Heard you, Beast. And so, The problem with her stats is, she didn't play that much last year. She played sparingly last year and really not as much in the beginning of the season. So her points per game, 7.1 points per game, 2.6 rebounds per game. They're not that high because, her stats in the beginning weren't that great, but she's just been a sharpshooter for this team, someone that can play the guard position, the two guard really well. She's great on the boards, and what she contributes to this team is just, it's really, been more than I think most people expected, more than I expected. And I think even the coaching staff, though they won't say it, they were very impressed with how she came up over the summer and really worked hard to get onto the court. I think they might even be surprised.
And I can't even say I disagree with you. Like, this was a tough decision to make. And you mentioned like the rebounds, which I love watching this team. Is what I notice is the stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. All the little things, boxing out, diving after loose balls, some things that. These are the little things
the opposite of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Exactly. The little things that separate the good teams from the bad teams. And that is why this women's basketball team is so dominant. They're willing to go the extra mile because they know they can go as hard as they want, because they know in like 30 seconds there's 5 new players coming in, so they'll be fine. It's just absolutely incredible, and I'm so impressed by it.
I honestly think their second line, like if they were to try to bench players, their second line would probably still beat most teams in the MAC. So
I know. It's crazy.
It is pretty ridiculous. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll pick our Game of the Week winners.
Yes.
And that's it. Then we're done for the week.
Hello, and tonight on Sandwich News, we will determine what makes a good sandwich and a bad sandwich. First, the standard sandwich. Uninspired, and frankly, a little gross. But we have here a Ray and Mike sandwich, the Cadillac of sandwiches. And if you want one, well,
come on down to Ray and Mike's at 3030 Whitney Ave, Hamden, Connecticut. Open every day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. QCash is accepted.
now that's a sandwich.
This is Sports Pause.
Are you concerned with the 0-2 start for this team?
Right here, top of the circle, again, rips it past the Jasper's goalie.
What will breaking the record mean for the program himself? I mean, 138 wins.
There's the tough shot. What a nice play by Mikey Dixon.
He's good in transition. Just a really dynamic scorer he can create for himself.
And now, Emma, it's time for the top 5 plays of the week.
Coming up on #that, we talk about some fun events around Quinnipiac's campus.
And we talk about some weird news that's been discussed around Twitter.
All that and more, we are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
Thank you for sticking with us. We have time for just our game of the week. Quinnipiac versus Niagara tonight at Niagara men's basketball.
Yes.
Chris, who gets the win?
Huge tilt. I'm gonna go with Niagara in a close game. Like we said before, they beat Niagara beat Quinnipiac before at home. I think it will be a close game. I think Isaiah Thomas will be on either Dukes or Mascot, whoever he's on.
Isaiah Thomas?
Isaiah Washington. Isaiah Thomas has got traded. Isaiah Washington will be on Khalil Dukes or Matt Scott. I think he'll do a pretty good job. He's done a great job holding it together. He's gonna do a great job, and I feel like it's gonna be close. But I think Niagara in a close game because they got that home court advantage. What about you?
I see Quinnipiac getting the win in this one. I think with the sharpshooters, Jacob Bergoni, Andrew Robinson will probably be back. And when you have the ability to have really good shooters, anything can happen.
You okay, dude? Too much Woj bombs today. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
You know what? The trade deadline had us cracking up. Too much NBA Twitter today.
Yes.
I say Quinnipiac gets the win tonight. That's all we have for today. Follow all of our content at Q30 Sports on Twitter. Visit our website at Q30TV.com. He's Chris Daisy. I'm Josh Silverman. We'll catch you next week.